Today's show is brought to you by Speaking Finance. If you're thinking about a personal loan, maybe for a new set of wheels, Speaking Finance are the guys for you. Maybe something fast and pacey like Nick Hind or strong and powerful like Jake Stringer. Either way, Speaking Finance will look after you. Visit speakingfinance.com.au. Alrighty, let's start the show.
I mean, it's nothing new that I'm the one who's carrying this podcast anyway, so...
Simply must play.
There's nothing more likely than a bloke who takes a hanger, missing a set shot straight after it.
Yeah, give it a listen.
Acting as if it's like a normal thing to do with salt and vinegar chips.
I'm in a mood, Rob.
How is this the little bonus content of Kevin Sheedy?
Who are we playing this week? Who cares?
I reckon I'm 0 for 3 with creating segments at the moment.
For the love of God, don't lose to Carlton.
Jones flies high. Hind puts the Jets on. Packo goes absolutely berserk. And the Dons take 4 points on the Apple Isle. This is the Sash, definitely not the official podcast of the Essendon Football Club. I'm your host, Rob, here with you. And joining me in the studio, it's good to see him in person, is Oli and Damo. Damo, hello. How are you?
Very good, Rob. Very, very good. Very happy with getting the 4 points yesterday. And Monday wasn't too bad. So I'm happy.
Good to hear. Good to hear.
Good to see you all in person.
No Sunday scaries after that.
No.
Feeling great. I'm feeling great. Good to be here.
You look great.
Oh, thank you. So do you.
I forget what people look like in person. It was funny. I watched yesterday with my cousin and uncle. Uncle is a great man. He goes for Essendon. Cousin, bit problematic, goes for Hawthorn. So, but conveniently at halftime, my cousin had to go home to look after his kid. I'm like, I think you're going to lose. I think that's what actually was happening. So,
couldn't hack it.
Where did you boys watch the game yesterday?
I watched it from the comfort of home. So just, very low key. I was considering going out, but I think sometimes when it's a game like that where you hope desperately that we're going to win, I couldn't do it to myself to go out and, I don't know, have a few beers and then compound the loss, the feeling of the loss if that eventuated. But we ultimately won, so I'm the loser.
Yeah, exactly. What about you?
I was at the Birmingham north side, washing down a few ales and, kept celebrating after that.
Good pub, the Birmingham.
And 50-cent chicken wings.
Per wing.
So per wing. So...
How many did you have?
Well, 60 were ordered to the table throughough the evening. And
you were sitting solo?
Gemma was there.
Okay.
No, there was about 10 plus, maybe 12. 12 people there and a parma and some wings.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
I once watched, this is so off topic, but we'll get back to us in a second. I once watched a Socceroos game there. It was like Socceroos versus like Palestine, the Asian Cup.
Yeah.
And I was there with there's 20 odd blokes. And we were going berserk when we won. And someone was like, oh, who's Australia playing? Thinking it's like Spain or France or someone good. And it's like, oh, we beat Palestine. They're like, okay, you guys are weirdos.
It's pretty fair.
Anyway, back to the other shaped ball. Great. I would say it was a great game, but there was plenty of goods. Let's start off with the positive because there's plenty to pick apart in this game, but we may as well talk about Mr. Jake Stringer, a.k.a. Packo.
The Packo.
Yes or no, was that the best game he's ever played?
I want to say yes, but I can't. I wasn't supporting the doggies at the time that he was drafted there, so I can't, reasonably say that I've had a good...
You'd say it's the best Essendon game, though.
But comfortably. And I, to be honest, I think if you look at the stats that he put up, it's hard to see a game where he's come even near that in terms of statistical output. Yeah. He was just everywhere. He was so impactful, and wherever he was put, he was down forward. He was kicking goals in the midfield. He was just such a difference maker, bursting through clearances. Sometimes it just when we couldn't pierce through their defensive structure, it was just a long Packo kick, that one where he found Waller in the forward pocket. I think he had a couple of streaming options that he just thought, hey, you know what, I'm going to hold on to this, do a 180, and I can find a forward better than anyone can, and he did. So he's just such an impact player, and what a game.
Yeah, full four-quarter performance from Packo, and I don't think we've seen that. I thought he could have died off there in the second half of the last quarter, but he had it all.
Can I ask?
He should have kicked 6.
He absolutely should have. He absolutely should have. Can I ask, there's been a bit of a narrative around Packo that because of McGrath's injury, we're now seeing him with extended midfield minutes. Do you think that's it, or do you think that he's maybe just got himself into better shape? Do you think it's a lack of opportunity that?
I think it's a combination. I think that game alone, he got more midfield time purely because we needed someone to step up. We were speculating last week, and we sort of said, maybe Heppel's going to push up more time. Not really thinking the obvious. Maybe Packo's there. Yes, I think that is part of it, but I also do think he has gotten fitter. Like we remember looking in preseason, we were like, geez, looking lean considering last year when he got injured, he kind of porked up a little bit. But yeah, I think it's a bit of both. And I mean, touch wood, I'm not sure how many games he's had in a row yet, but he seems to have had a pretty good run this year.
He has.
So
for the most part.
He did say after the post-game interview on the TV, his just fitness, he was really fit at the start of the year, and he just didn't have the luck with the injuries. So the continuity, it will definitely be
big time
a part of that, but it's a combination, definitely.
Yeah, it's the type. Like, I mean, that's the type of performance. Like, you've been screaming out for a player like that to play for Essendon for so long, and it would be unbelievably exciting if he could start to put that together more often.
Yeah.
How many zeros has he just added to his contract?
Well, I
was about to say, I'm pretty sure his manager was sitting there going, I'm buying a new house.
Look at his list.
Yeah, Paul Connors will be getting a couple extra ones there, don't worry.
Do we now throw Carlton money at him?
I mean, we've got it. I mean, it's funny that, like, the three guys who are obviously there to be signed, now that we've got Merritt done, I mean, Parrish, that was probably his worst game he's had in the midfield this year. We'll get into him later, but it's like there's two guys who have been in red hot form. Suddenly, Doris, and they're going, gee, this salary cap's getting a bit tighter.
Definitely,
isn't it? So it's an interesting one to see how that will play out. I think I hope. I mean, from what I was reading last, and it's been a little bit more quiet on that front recently, but it seemed to be a tussle over the years of his contract and maybe a bit to do with money.
Because he wants
$4 at
$750 and we've which is a lot of money. And I don't like...
He's my age, so he's 27 this year.
Yeah.
4 years takes him 31.
Yeah.
You don't know how he's going to perform on the off season, how long that's going to
Packo.
last. He is a thick boy. He's
Packo.
heavy, but how fun was he? Like 12 score involvements. That's crazy. 7 tackles.
Yeah.
The one-handed snap goal.
Oh, yeah.
The fend off.
I've watched the replay that many times, and you know what the best part of the replay is? It's when Eddie Maguire goes, Nick Raywell, talk us through it, and he's like, yeah, it's a bit like Dusty in that, and then just stops and goes, oh, Jesus. And just like realises what he's done. And he's just like, when Nick Raywell's, jaw hits the floor, you've done well.
So
what
good.
A fun game.
Name's a package for a reason because he had it all.
I mean, look, whether or not he accepts it or not, like I feel like maybe you could offer him a similar deal to what they did with Laverty. Obviously not like the Bucks, where it goes, if you play X amount of games,
trigger.
We can trigger the extra year, because I think the knock on him is that he is injury prone and he's in and out of the side sometimes. Like, no one doubts the ability, but it's just, can we get him on the park consistently to play 80, 90%, 100% of the season?
Positively, I think the most important box is ticked in that there's a mutual interest between Packo and the club for him to remain.
Yeah.
I can't see him wanting to go.
No, absolutely not. So
we looked after him when he was in bad times.
Absolutely. So I think, because there's that mutual interest, there's going to be some sort of a meeting in the middle. It'll work itself out. Have faith in the club. Have faith in Packo's management to crunch a deal there, because we want to see him in red and black for a number of years.
It'll get done. It'll get done.
Yeah. Crystal ball, I mean, it's been a discussion point because of how much it's changed. But if we look at the time he got in the midfield there and the impact that he has, knowing that we have guys who will come back into this side and change the makeup, whether it's McGrath, whether it's Shield, Caldwell, whoever, like, do we now have to go, Jesus, we know what this guy can do now when he gets the midfield time. Do we now have to start going like, okay, who can move around? Does someone get pushed out to a wing? Does McGrath have to go into defence more often?
I think yes. I think yes.
I think yes on all of them. So McGrath goes back. Shield, I think, would be great on a wing as well. But he's also been training or was training with the forward group. So he'd been implementing that in his game. I think they were expecting that, especially with Caldwell coming in. They knew that they would have had to have made some moves. So I think that there's steps in place there.
And I think as well, like, over a long season, there are times where, any player can come up to a game and basically be saying to the coaches and the physios, it's like, look, I'm able to play, but I'm probably not at 100%, which happens all the time. There's always guys coming into games with knocks and things like that. And it's ideally that you build enough of a good midfield group that Packo might come into a game. You know, we've head over to WA, it's playing Fremantle, we've had a short break, and he's just like, look, I think I probably need to spend more time forward this week. You know, like it's about managing that.
Yeah.
You know, past people in the Essendon medical department probably didn't manage people very well, but hopefully the current group can do that.
Well, we've definitely changed that. So, like, we held Packo off at the start of the year, so he would be right. We held Draper off, put him through the VFL. So I think there's a bit of a change here at the club and managing injuries and bringing players back too quickly.
Sure. You mentioned him there. I'm going to jump the run sheet, but let's talk about the return of Big Sammy Draper.
So good.
Like, you can just see how much more, I guess, I don't think dominant is the word, dangerous we look at a stoppage with him there. And I don't want to knock Flip. I like what Flip brings to the club, but everyone knows Flip's there just to hold a place. He's our backup there if we need him. Sam is the project. Sam is the future.
Yeah.
He's just a wild man. You just don't know what he's going to do. He will jump over you, he'll push you over.
He's unreal.
He gets high.
Yeah. He's unreal.
His vertical is incredible, actually.
Rob, just reading out his numbers here, 9 clearances is bananas.
Yeah.
Most since David Hill.
Yeah. Like, we just haven't had that in the ruck department.
Wow.
Yeah.
For a ruckman.
Wow. Most since David Hill.
At our club.
I was like, wow, David Hill owns the
I was like, let me just wind that back.
I'm like, I know David Hill was pretty good, but yeah. The thing that, we were talking about before off air, how funny was the one where he got the clearance, broke 3, took a couple of steps, and then just went
the handball.
and he was just like, holy fuck, what do I do? Like, just completely shut the bed, and then just gave the
Thank God he did, because I would have like torched my house had he kicked that.
I was just like,
I was going.
Yeah, I was like waiting for the top. Me and my uncle were like on the edge of the couch, just like, and then he just gave this rubbish handball to Langford, but I want to see him back himself in it. Like, because look, he's 60 out, you launch it. What's worst case scenario? It falls short and we've got it in deep. All right, you kick a point maybe, but like no one's going to begrudge you for doing that.
No, absolutely not. He just looks so good. It was probably his hit outs as well that I didn't how good they were that I didn't appreciate previously.
Straight down the throat to Parrish.
They were so crafty. They were so crafty.
The one to Packo, I think it was maybe in the third, but he just literally, it was just down his throat, and then he got the handball out to Parrish, and we were just out, and I was like, geez, that was pretty clinical.
You're smiling. You're smiling after that. Every time Draper was near the ball, I don't know if I'd had too many sherbets, but I was just like, I love this guy. I just want to have a beer with him.
And the other thing about him is the players walk taller when he's on the field next to him.
Definitely. He's got
he's such an alpha leader.
When he laid that shepherd, he had like the double arm crossover and like lifted his arms.
Who did he block then? I lost it when he did that.
I don't know, but he was shepherding for Parrish, I think.
Yeah, I recall it. It was
so clean.
Such a good moment.
8 coaches' votes.
Yeah.
I did not expect that. Like, I thought he was good. I wasn't expecting that. But to have both coaches give you second best on the ground,
that's huge.
That's mega
That's a
impact.
recognition.
His 11th game. It's taken a while to get there. He's had the injuries, the ACL, but 11th game it took to get his first W. Yeah. Which is fairly funny.
I've had this in the works, but I'll hand this to you. So, for those who've ever bought some of the Sash merch, we've currently got a new design, which is about to hit the shop as of right now.
He looks hot.
Let's see.
It's this is great audio, but this
he's
is
looking good.
It's Big Sammy Draper giving the thumbs up.
He's looking good.
Yeah.
Do we show it to one of the cameras or?
I can probably just put. I mean, I'm holding up my phone to the camera, but I can probably just superimpose it when I do my editing later. But I'll probably post that later. Otherwise, if you're listening, go to our link on any of our socials. Go to the shop, and you will see Big Sam merch available now. So get on that.
Might get some baby merch.
Get on the Big Sam baby merch. Well, I'm as of last Friday, I'm an uncle now. So there's
congratulations.
Yeah.
Did you get any baby merch?
Nephew, niece?
Nephew. Sadly, they're both Melbourne supporters, so I probably should technically buy him some D stuff, but who knows? Maybe a Big Sammy Draper little baby onesie.
They don't have agency yet.
They don't have agency yet.
You can put a bit of merchandise in front of them and let them make their own decision.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think Paran is a Melbourne Demons zone, so I feel like they can go either way.
Nah, that's exactly right. That's their fair game.
Yeah, he's not zoned to a club yet.
My cousin, his partner, they're expecting in a few months. They actually live in Tullamarine. So
there we go.
They're zoned.
Yeah, they'll be getting some merch. So So, Cookie, it'll be on the way.
A few more positives. Rightly so. Nominated for the Rising Star for round 14, Harrison Jones.
Favourite player.
Is he your favourite player now?
Love him.
Yeah.
He's in his ability to take contested mark in his size and at his age, none better. He looked good in the long sleeve though.
Yeah.
I reckon.
It was fun.
He's so skinny though.
I said to a couple of mates, little messenger through. I was like, "There's a bit of Jason Laycock about the long sleeves there. There was a bit of that. Like obviously Laycock, had a lot of talent, but never really didn't come on. But I was looking at him like, dude, there's a bit of Laycock.
There was
about
a bit
this.
of that.
Hopefully he has a much longer, better career than Jason did. But it did remind me. How's this? How's this for the stat? I think is Swamp Thing on Twitter who posts all the berserk stats. So fewest career games to record 2 games with 5+ contested marks. So 19 games, Liam Jones. 18 games, Harry Mackay. 16 games, Luke McFarlane, Joe Danaher. 14 games, Jeremy McGovern. 13 games, Harrison Jones.
Good company.
And then 4 games, James Posidadli.
That doesn't count.
He was like 40 years old at that time.
That literally doesn't count.
Yeah.
And he had 1 contested mark stripped off him when the hooker
free
free
kick.
kick. Yeah.
That's
And that was an
right.
absolute perler.
That's right.
Just flew into he had probably 2 similar looking like pack marks where he crashed.
Yeah.
And that was one of the best of the lot.
He's doing it on a consistent basis as well.
He's going to go down as possibly Dodoro's most true draft night move.
Yeah, so for those who aren't aware, can you explain what was
So
done?
I can't recall exactly what the picks that we had on the draft night, but this would have been, it was the 2019 draft, so the year before last. So we had 2 picks probably in the late 30s, mid 30s.
I think it was, I looked at this today, so I think it was 34 and 35.
Yeah. And then North Melbourne get to their pick 30. They're about to select. Dodoro picks up the phone and goes, "Hey, we've got a little package for you. Don't worry about who we're taking." They take it, like the peanuts they are, and then bang, Harry Jones falls into our lap.
Exactly.
So good.
Yeah, so it's not a case of just like, oh, he was best available.
Yeah, he didn't fall into
He's
our lap.
traded up on draft night because he's identified a player that they've clearly rated quite highly.
And
They've thought he's slipped, and they've gone, he's too good an opportunity to pass up here.
We've got to take him, and there you go. So, yeah, traded from North Melbourne, draft pick, received from Melbourne, received from Fremantle. I don't know. These things are confusing. But there you go. So we did well. Cheers, North. I'm not sure who your full forward is at the moment or future centre-half forward. A few people, like neutral supporters, friends of mine, have just been like, man, there's a bit of a young Nick Rewald about that Jones kid. And I was like, well, geez, let's pump the brakes. Pump the brakes.
I don't want to be saying anything like that.
Let's stick with the Laycock comparisons for now. Let's not jump too far ahead. But
build it up, slow and steady.
most Ks run of anyone on the ground. It was like 15 Ks, I think.
15.9K.
That rattled me
Yeah.
when that got sent through.
So the next best was O'Meara at 14.7.
That's fair enough.
Langford, who's known for his tank, at 14.5. This guy's just running all day. He can mark, he can kick, he can run. How often do you hear about key forwards that can do 1 or 2 of the 3?
Oh, I'm happy.
Well, like I was chatting to our friend from the debrief today about him, and he's like, you look at all the really good key forwards in the comp right now, the top end guys, they all have huge work rates and they run. Hawkins and Cameron up and back, Jack Grewald up and back, Tom Lynch up and back. Like Hipwood does it as well. Like all the real good guys, you'll suddenly go, gee, what are they doing down their back pocket? And then they just go. This is, I think we're looking at ideally the centre half forward for the next, 5-10 years of the Dons, which is pretty huge. I wouldn't mind seeing some more talent around him, but there's someone there to build this forward line around.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
And that's something we've been craving for a long time, and it feels good to have it.
Yeah, very happy with him. Who's else has got a positive for me?
Hindy.
Yeah.
Hindy was good.
Yeah,
Apart
he
from
was
that
unreal.
one time where he just got reckless, he didn't know what to do with it. He ran into 6 Hawthorn players.
Yeah.
There was not one Essendon player in the frame there. But apart from that, the way he took on the game, and because we were really struggling to move the ball forward, Hawthorn were really setting up really well. But he was just breaking the lines, getting the ball forward, and whether it's a score involvement or kicking the ball inside 50, hitting the right target, or finishing and kicking the goal himself, he's
He's got to be on target for All Australian.
he's up there.
He's in the mix. I
Yeah.
mean, I think halfback flank can be
It's a hard one.
It's a hard one to get in because it's one of the places like forward flank where
Where
they'll
you
just
left over midfield.
Yeah, they might just push someone out. to it. And there are some pretty good halfbacks around the comp, don't get me
for
wrong.
sure.
But he's in the frame. Like, I think he's in the squad at the moment.
Yep.
And it's just great week in, week out seeing articles about, St
just
Kilda.
about to say
St Kilda, what have you done? How'd you get him up? And like, you hear like Lee Montagna is a St Kilda great, being like, I don't know what this club's thinking. How'd they get rid of him?
So good. They thought they were in their premiership window and they went all out, got crouched and just buggered.
Is this the... Yeah. That's St Kilda season right there.
That's their theme song.
That is their theme song. There were times in the game where I felt we were very stagnant.
Yes.
Particularly in that first half. And Hindy was probably one of the ones who were really only showing any waves of being creative.
Yep.
And, doesn't always work, as you said, but you need someone who's generating that movement out of defence. Some people can do it, through good kicking. He was doing it by running carry. I think 745 metres gained.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's
that's
pretty
a
good.
lot.
Pretty good
It's a lot
day
of
out.
meters.
And I
A lot
like
of
how
meters.
On a small ground too.
I like how
That
like,
is 100 Peter Wrights.
Yes.
More.
Yes.
Oh, that's good. I like how he takes on the game, and even when he makes errors, and whether it's running in the wrong spot or kicking, he still has a confidence next time he gets the ball to take it on, and he has the confidence of all the players giving him the ball. So I love him.
I got another positive for you.
Go for it.
Tasmanian Bombers.
Yes.
How good?
Well said.
How good was it to go over there? It's been a fortress. I think Clarko's record since they've been playing in Tassie is something ridiculous, like 60 and 15 or 50 and 15. And we've managed to go over there, not only get the win, but
Majority.
by all accounts, we had the home ground feel. We outnumbered them. They were getting Bronx cheers, the Hawthorn players, whenever they'd make a mistake.
They
It's the Tassie fortress. It's
It was
ours.
crazy how loud it was.
Yeah.
But in the package said that Hawthorn players were going up to him being like, is this your home game or something? Like they were even rattled, which is great. So if we've got any Tassie listeners,
We have a few people
Well
mentioning
done.
the page
Credit to them.
saying they were heading down.
I almost reckon we should get a Tassie game once a year now.
I'd
I'd get on the
all for
spirit.
it.
I'd get on the spirit.
all for it.
Yeah. I mean, there was, again, like as always, whenever there's, any good football in Tasmania, that they've sparked the conversation. Should there be a team down there? I find it interesting, though, because I feel like there are a lot of people down there who are clearly football fans. But, like, if you're an Essendon supporter living in Tassie, are you going to drop the Bombers to go support your local team now?
You better not.
I mean, look,
That's for the North and Hawthorn ones.
yeah, there'll probably be a next generation who'll develop.
good
but like,
question, though.
But if you're like, look, if you're listening, if you're a Tassie born and bred Essendon supporter, would you change your team to go for the Tassie team if that happened? Let us know. Like, I'm interested to hear what you guys think.
Yeah.
Should have asked that question at the end of last season, and we may have had different results.
Yes, imagine roles. Yeah, look, awesome to see the turnout. Obviously, there's so many people, down there who haven't had the opportunity to see them in Tasmania. Hawth Melbourne. They're going to merge. Hawth Melbourne. There we go. Hawth Melbourne. The Hawthorn Melbourne team. No, but like the Hawks, clearly they're in a bit of a shit place at the moment.
Yeah.
I guess a lot of fans who are like, seeing a few flags of just checking out a little bit.
Yeah.
It would have been interesting to see the turnout if they were doing a bit better. I felt like it might have been more of a split, but regardless, awesome turnout. Fortress in Perth, tick. Fortress in Tasmania,
Tick.
all right, where we go next? Adelaide, Alice.
I'd
Alice
prefer
Springs.
to secure the G next.
Yeah,
Not a bad call.
Yeah, let's get a Fortress of the G going. Yeah, wouldn't mind going back to the footy. It's been
Are
a
we
while.
are we able to go to the footy this week, by the way?
I don't think it's
I don't
confirmed.
think it's clear yet,
It's
yeah.
not confirmed, but the rumours and what everyone's saying on like Twitter and whatnot is they're going for 30%. So Don's home game, which means that Don's fans will most likely be able to go. But still, 30%, what, 30,000?
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I assume with that you probably go maybe 15 to 20. I'd say at least 15,000 Dons.
Yep.
10,000, probably 10,000 in the MCC,
Yeah.
and then whatever rest is allocated to Melbourne. But reality is the Ds will have a cheer squad, the MCC, and then the rest will be Essendon supporters.
Essendon,
So, which is generally most Melbourne games, to be honest.
Nice.
So wouldn't mind me going to that. You got any other positives, boys?
Yeah, I got one.
Actually, no. You go. Sorry.
Well, I was just going to say that I think even though Hawthorn are languishing second last on the ladder, it's a better win than a lot of people might necessarily give us credit for, because they played the exact type of game that if you're a Hawthorn supporter, you'd want a team with, I guess, that level of least limitations to play. There was a high pressure game. They were relentless. They were just getting the most out of a limited list. So I think
correct.
those are the type of games where for a long time we've really struggled in when we're not getting clean disposal. They were also set up superbly defensively. Just the amount of times that we would seek to get it forward past the half-back flank and it would get chopped off either at the wing or high half forward. But yeah, for us to, I guess, make the necessary in-game corrections. And yes, we were riding off the back of a superhuman performance from Packo. But
yes,
I feel like those are the type of games that will galvanise the list going forward. It's an interstate win, and that's going to be hugely positive for the amount of young boys that we had riding that together.
Yeah, and we have a exceptionally depleted list.
Yeah. Absolutely.
If you look at the round one list versus that, like it's chalk and cheese for who we had available. Yeah. So yes, we did. Packo carried us and basically won us the game. But yeah, I do tend to agree with you. Like I was pretty happy with what we dished out in that second half. First half was pretty putrid, in honesty. But yeah, good result. I can't believe I've forgotten. I've skipped over him in the run sheet, but I think we should talk about Jordan Ridley.
Absolutely.
With the rise of some guys around him, like with what Laverty's been doing, Hines been doing, I think he's kind of flown the radar a little bit. Had a few okay games, but that was the beautiful, silky, composed Ridley where you saw a lot of guys were slipping over and fumbling. He was just laconic, scoop it up, hit an absolute dart to someone in the wing. You're like, geez, this bloke is bloody good.
How was that moment late in the game when we were desperate not to concede and the ball rolled towards our goal line and he just keeps it there, keeps it in, calm as anything, and then just drives it.
And then picked it up. That was nice.
It reminded me of that, the Eddie Betts goal where he has it on the boundary line and he holds it and like runs around it. It's that where it's just like
it's nice.
Total awareness.
You just feel safe with the ball in his hands, and that's a huge asset for someone playing in your defence.
Tim Watson this morning said that he reminded him of Neil Danaher.
Ooh,
now, I haven't watched a lot of Neil highlights in my life, so I'm actually not too sure. But
well, I mean, from my knowledge, and obviously this is, pre my era, but from my knowledge is that everyone said that he was the most talented of the four brothers. But I believe he did an ACL or something.
Yeah,
he fucked his knee.
Something
really 84 games. Yeah, he had a knee that he just couldn't come back from.
Yeah, but like everyone sort of says he was the one who could have been the best, the greatest of all. Can't recall if we spoke about that on Thursday.
I haven't listened.
Can't recall much of what we spoke to Terry about, to be honest. No, he was great.
I think that's pretty common.
Yeah, Terry was very generous at this time. If people wanted to know about country New South Wales towns, they certainly know. Thanks from thanks Des. Gave us a bit of a history lesson.
That's late.
But yeah, all of our premium subscribers on the Horde would have listened to that. If you'd like to listen to that, go sign up. Good stuff coming. I'll just quickly touch on it. I thought Dyson Heppel's game was decent.
Yep.
I didn't think he was a world beater, but I thought he was pretty solid. In moments where I think a lot of people were quite shaky, I thought he was quite good. So give him that. Yeah, I've got a question for you. So it seemed to me as though that Newcombe kid was tagging Parrish, at least at the stoppages he was going to him. Parrish, I don't think handled it that well.
No.
Like he wasn't poor by any stretch, but I feel like that's the first time he's really copped a bit of attention as opposed to a head-to-head battle. Didn't pass for me. So I want to see him be able to punish a young kid like that.
And that's not completely surprising. I mean, it takes most of the best players in the competition a period of time to adjust to the tag once it starts being allocated to them. So just part of his growth, Das, and that'll be what he needs to address to take his game to the next level.
Yeah. I mean, he can't have 40 touches every week.
No. As much as we'd like it.
I actually didn't even notice it. Until I read it on the run sheet there was no volume at the pub there, so figure it out myself.
No, I don't think, I'm not sure if it was even spoken about, but I was just watching the game and I was sort of like, gee, Parrish hasn't been as, noticeable as he has in past weeks. And then I noticed a few stoppages and there that Newcombe kid,
he's huge.
The tackling machine from Poowong.
Ooh, where's that?
It's out in Gippsland.
Nice. There you go.
If you ever drive out to Traralgon, you'll see a sign for Poowong.
Lovely.
I feel like I need a little sound effect to go with that every time I say it. Poowong. So interesting kid. Bads.
Kicking?
Yeah, I was going to say I thought our connection at half forward was the first half. I was really worried that it was going to be a repeat of the second half of round one, whereas we would win the ball and then we'd get it to their half back line and then Jaff, Hardwick, whoever's down there would just rebound it, and they were doing a lot of that in that first half, and
a lot better as well.
Yeah, a lot better at it, and our use was just garbage at times. A lot of just bombing long to big packs.
Yep.
And it's like, I know you're right, you got Drapes down there or Hooksy and Jones, and you back them in to get it, but you know, if we are serious about maybe pushing for the 8, knowing we're just outside it, there is no way we're going to beat Melbourne if we play like that, because they will gobble that up time and time again.
We really didn't capitalise on our dominance in the midfield. I feel like we were really comfortably on top of them for patches there, and because of that, you know, our inability to, I don't know if it was it was a combination of skill errors and I think just being out coached in some respects.
I think there was a bit of that, or a fair bit of that.
You know, some of that would be expected, given it's a ground we've never played at, and he's coming up against Clarko, the masterclass. He knows how to get the most out of that list. But yeah, it just felt like, you know, banging our heads against the wall just time and time again, getting cut off. So yeah, something to improve on for sure.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't perfect. I'll go into the next one. Like, I want to temper this. Like, I don't like to sit and really bash young guys, but I just don't know if Ned Carl's up to it right now. He might get there, but right now, like, I know he's got that nice little goal, but like,
I know what you're trying to say though.
You know what I mean?
I feel the same, but we don't want to sit here and bash him, because for the last couple of years, all we've done is complain how we haven't given the young guys enough continuity in games and allowed them to, you know, adapt to the AFL standard. But I'm sitting here and I'm completely agreeing with you. I don't know. Even like when he got named, I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, taking the opposite view, look, obviously he didn't have a great game and he's not going to stay very long in the senior team putting in performances like that. But there's something that the coaches have seen, because he did feature. Was he in our round 1 team?
I think he was.
I feel like he was.
He might have been,
Yeah, I feel like he was.
Pretty sure he was.
There's something, I mean,
he had a really
from
good
the months
preseason,
of,
I think.
from the months of whatever it is, end of October through to March, when we start back up play, the people that have been watching him day in, day out are the coaches, and they are the ones who picked that round 1 team. And there was a reason, there was enough for them.
He did play, yes.
Yeah, there was enough for them at that point to say, hey, you're in our best 22. And that was when we had the majority of the list available.
Yeah.
So there's something there. Ned, it wasn't a good enough game.
He had 10 touches then.
Yeah. And he's not going to stay long in the team with performances like that. But, you know, he's had a few really strong outings in the VFL. He might not be there yet, but he's one
still
worth
young.
persisting with.
I think they rate his skills pretty highly. As he's someone who, like, when he's got the ball in hand, can use it very well. But I feel like at the pace and the size of the guys around him at AFL, he doesn't get it.
It's tough to adjust at the moment.
And then there was just a few, like, it was the one on the half forward line where, like, he was reading the ball and then he just kind of lost it in midair, and then Jaff just like took it away from him, and it's kind of like, you got to do a lot better than that at senior footy.
Got another question for you.
Yep.
Does his social media activity / TikTok annoy you
I've
much as it annoys me?
I'm not on TikTok.
Nor am I.
I'm not on the top.
But it manages to find its way onto my phone, and I hate it.
Yeah,
I hate it.
There was when he scored that goal, and he sort of like half hugged Jonesy, and I could see in his mind that he was like, I need to do a dance, but he held back and he didn't. I was kind of glad that he didn't do a dance.
Yeah, it wasn't a dancing worthy performance.
Yeah.
Just quickly, if I don't have a TikTok, but if I did create one, my handle would be the School of Hard Talks. So no one take it.
I'm sure that's already taken.
No, I've already searched. It's not taken.
It's the School of Hard Talks.
You idiot.
Oh, well, I'm sure that's getting created tomorrow. I should have done it last year when it was like the big lockdown. I had a lot more spare time, but someone messaged me and was like, you should just make a Don Man TikTok and just do like Don Man skits all day long. And I was like, I've got the time, and then I just didn't do it.
Are you Don Man?
Oh no, I know Don Man. I know Don Man. Yeah, sorry.
Dr. Nuff on there as well.
Yeah, Don Man and Dr. Nuff back to back. So anyway, not going to bash these guys because we love them to death, but it was Mert said it in our thread at one point, and he goes, I don't like saying this, but I do feel like Cox and Perker are almost worst on ground right now. Yeah. They can't be great every week.
They can't. Like, this is bound to happen, and I'm happy that both happened at the same time.
Yeah.
So now, hopefully, they'll be good for next week.
Yeah, what does that make Cox then? If he's what's the half horse, half man?
Centaur. A centaur, yeah.
He's like a unicorn centaur.
Yeah. A
unicentaur.
A unitor.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
He is only human.
He is only human.
He is only half human.
He's only
half unicorn.
Yeah. They were a bit sloppy and slow. I actually thought that the way at least Cox, I actually felt like I can't remember. Was it Daniel Howe who plays on the wing for Hawthorn?
Yeah.
I feel like he's actually not a bad matchup for Cox because he's actually quite big.
Yeah.
He's a big boy. He's like a bit like Langford, where
Yeah.
he's just like he's like a bit too big to be this, not too small to do this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Look, wasn't great, but we're not going to bash those two.
Would Nick Cox's TikTok be Tick Cox?
Oh, I like that.
Cox
like
talk
that a lot.
or Cox talk?
Cox talk.
Or
Cox talk.
Nick Talk.
Nick
I
talk.
don't know. Next.
Nick talk. Tick Cox. What? Devin Smith.
Yeah.
What's up, Dev?
First game
Yeah.
back. First game back from injury.
It's not like I don't mind the errors. It's
The anger.
It's the anger and the crap free
disciplined free
kicks.
kicks. Yeah.
And it's just like, bro, you're meant to be one of the leaders in this side. I know you're on the
Yeah.
leadership group, but you're more experienced than most of the guys around you.
You're not Toby Green. Like, you
Yeah.
can't get away with it because you're not.
Toby
kicking-
Green doesn't get away with
Yeah,
it.
but he gets away with it because he kicks 4 goals and has 25. Like, if you're going to be giving away,
You can
need
do
to
it
be
if you're 2018, Dev.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but he's-
Crichton medal, Dev.
But he's like he's never been the same since the knee. And
No.
everyone all the people who message the page to tell me stuff that may or may not be true, none of them seem to think that he's like his knee's any good at the moment.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah,
Like,
don't think he has a knee.
Yeah.
Like,
He's got
it's
I
hollow.
can't. Yeah, I can't fact check Sash DMs because
Yeah.
there's a lot of really raucous stuff going on. There.
We should almost have a segment.
Where I just read out the
Real or not real?
real or not real.
Yeah.
Honestly, the best are just people who send in videos of them drinking piss watching the footy. They're my
They're the
favourite.
best.
They're the favourite.
We haven't had any
More of that, please.
Sash cocktails recently.
I haven't been to a bit of a bar recently. So.
That's true. You can make them yourself.
Okay. the
Bit of Black Sambuca, a bit of Shiraz.
Oh, God.
I don't think I've ever bought Sambuca at a bottle shop.
No, I can't say I have either.
Has anyone that doesn't work in a bar bought Sambuca?
Nah.
Let us know.
No.
Let us know.
Let's change that.
Are you a Tasmanian footy fan who's on TikTok and drinks Sambuca? Let us know.
Please do. Please do.
Yeah, look, Dev, sloppy, needs to get out his game. I'll ask you guys this. Full strength Dons with, the side with everyone's available right now.
He plays.
Yeah, I think he plays. Where does he play?
He plays that high forward, pressure forward role because we all know on a good day he could come out with 14 tackles and 10 of those be inside the forward 50. And if you're doing 10 inside forward 50 tackles like that, it's just so dangerous. So I think he's best suited in that role. I know when we first got into the club, we guaranteed him midfield minutes, but at the
I think
moment,
that ship sailed.
that's gone.
Yeah.
And I think he just needs to focus on his one role, which is not giving away free kicks and applying forward pressure. Yeah. And I think he'll find his way back into the team and happy.
I think there's definitely a spot for him in the 22. If
I do
if he's
too.
willing to play a disciplined role like that and cut out the free kicks.
Yeah, he's the king of the late punch to the guts.
Yeah.
He is, isn't he?
He's up there. He's up there. 7-seater.
I feel like we could mix these two together, 7-seater and Kale Hooker.
Yeah. Clearly, they didn't get the oil out for the 7-seater because it was not moving at all. I think it's
Was
like
it the
flat.
conditions maybe for them? Like too windy, couldn't read the flight of the ball, drop.
It was also a bit of a game time decision. So part of me wonders whether, he's probably feeling a little bit underdone being named and actually playing. So,
Well, it was his calf, wasn't it?
yeah.
Yeah,
He's got a bigger calf, which probably means it takes a bit longer to heal.
it was funny.
That is true.
Mert said on our primo pod on Thursday that he reckons he's miles off coming back to the side, which shows what Mert knows. But yeah, I understand why they played him because I think they were worried that when Draper did have to have a rest, that the Siegler or McAvoy was going to dominate.
Yep.
So I think that was a good move, but he had 65% game time.
That's very low.
Well, him and Carl had the lowest. They both had 65%, which shows that I think for 7-seater, clearly was labouring and they were just like, minute. Carl might say something different.
Maybe knowing that he's going up against Gawn next week as well, or that we're playing Melbourne potentially. Oh, no, probably not.
Yeah.
Scrap that.
Yeah. I didn't think he was very good. And lastly, I love Lord Kale, but he did look very slow.
Mm.
And
He did a bit.
he is slow, but he was looking slower than normal.
he was stiff.
And like, I've no point this whole year so far, I've been like, he's got one more year. He's definitely got one more year. That was the first game where I went, well, maybe not.
Maybe give him the benefit of the doubt. It takes a little bit longer to warm up the bones in Tassie.
He had one mark yesterday.
Yeah.
One mark, yeah. And
So
he's in there as a marking target forward. So.
And he also did have their only key defender in Sam Frost, who can be pretty good on his day. So,
yeah.
Any more negatives, questions, positives, anything you guys want to discuss? Otherwise, we're going to break and we'll call
Quick one, actually.
Great man Paul.
It just reminded me when we were chatting then about seven-seater and having him in the side as to be a little bit of a chop out for Draper when he wanted to take a rest.
Yeah.
Do you potentially see Draper and Brian playing in the same team?
Potentially one day, but not with Peter Wright in it.
Yeah, so you think it's two of the three?
And look, maybe if they stop playing, unless like if Hooker's out, let's say Hooker gets injured, or next year Hooker doesn't play or whatever, then I could see the potential they'd go, all right, you're going to play Wright at full forward, and then you're going to play Brian there. I could say maybe, but one of those four needs to be there potentially, maybe two of the four.
Yeah, I agree with all of the above that Rob's just said.
Yeah. I don't know. I really like Peter Wright. Like I know he said 2 really good games this year, albeit against bad sides. But I think Peter Wright's ceiling is what David Hale was at his peak for Hawthorn.
Yeah,
which is you're the ultimate ruck forward. If you can kick 2 goals a game, and then get in there for 5 minutes a quarter and does not get belted in the ruck and actually may win a few taps, which is what Hale would do. That is what he can do.
And just bring the ball to ground as well.
Yeah, bring the ball to ground, get people around it, and just like generally make the most of the 10, 12 touches he's going to get. But I don't think he's going to be. He's not going to be a 5-6 goal forward, nor is he going to be a dominant ruckman.
Yeah.
David Hale is the ceiling for that role. I think that's what he's going to be shooting for.
I think that's a good analogy, player analogy between seven-seater.
Yeah. Alrighty, let's take a breather, and then we're going to call the great man, Paul Cousins.
Beautiful.
Remember that today's show is brought to you by Speaking Finance. If you want to get a loan from someone who loves the Dons as much as you, then Speaking Finance is your answer. Maybe you're looking to get a haircut like Sam Draper or buy a house as big as Dylan Shields. Whatever it is, Speaking Finance will take care of all of your loan needs. Visit speakingfinance.com.au. That's speakingfinance.com.au. Welcome back. It's that time again on a Monday where we have the VFL wrap with Paul Cousins. Paul, it's nice to be speaking to you again.
Hello, boys. It's been a while, huh?
It has been a while. There's been an absence of state-level footy here in Victoria, and I'm sure you've missed heading out to watch the boys play.
I have. I was very sort of generously designated as game day staff on the weekend, so that meant I was able to go and watch, which was good. I've missed it, to be honest. You miss being around the group, and it's been a pretty sort of interrupted year for us through sort of various things, including this and a bit of a late start and buys and whatever else. So it was just good to get back around the group, to be honest.
Definitely. Now, it was a pretty tough outing there at Windy Hill up against Box Hill. Some good signs there, but, pretty tough day at the office. Yeah,
look, no point sugarcoating it. We were really poor in the first half. We just didn't play well at all, and Hawthorn, or Box Hill rather, did. They punished us for mistakes that we made and sort of pressured us into mistakes. It was really disappointing. But with that disappointment, you sort of look at the positive, and that was that we were able to steady after half time and really sort of challenge again. Inevitably, we were just a bit too far behind, but got back to sort of 4 or 5 goals from being down 10 at half time, and gave them a bit of a fright. So they're a good side. They're a program that got up and going really early on in the piece, before Christmas as a big group, and you could tell that they were very together as a group. They knew each other really well and knew each other's games really well. Their voice was terrific. So that's something for us to, the second half is something for us to work with and perhaps look to emulate a few things they were able to do.
Now, Paul, I'm going to head straight into it. Zach Reed, I've seen that he's had 17 disposals and 11 marks. How was his game? And also just a little bit of information on how his games were when he played for the Carlton VFL team as well.
So I don't know about the Carlton VFL team. I know that Draper's played with Carlton. I'm not sure if Reedy did or not, but look, it wasn't his best game yesterday. Yep. He looked a bit rusty, to be honest. He's, as everyone who's sort of seen him play a bit knows, he's got an incredible leg. He's terrific off both feet, and his kicking's really, one of his primary strengths. And he made a few kicking errors, which, are unlike him, which, to be honest, you just put down to the fact that he probably hasn't played for almost 3 months or something. So, but the key thing for Zach yesterday was to Saturday, yesterday, whenever it was.
Yep.
Yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday. The key thing for him was really to get through, and it was about how he was feeling physically, how his energy levels were and that sort of stuff. And that was all really positive. He worked his way into the game. He probably didn't find much of it in the first half and struggled a little bit, but, he got better as the game went on. And as the old adage goes, will definitely be better for the run.
And just on the defensive side of things, how does he go in a matchup in a one-on-one contest?
Yeah, look, he's skinny.
Yep.
It's that one's pretty obvious for anyone with eyes, so there's no point sort of hiding from it. But what he does well, and a lot of guys who probably have grown up, lighter than opponents, get pretty good at timing jumps and making sure that they're on the move when the footy arrives rather than stationary. It's one of those ones where if a big bruiser sort of gets him flat-footed, he's probably going to struggle at the moment, just from a strength point of view, as he sort of develops into his body. But a bit like Nick Cox in the senior side, when he can get a run and jump at it, whether that's in an attacking sense or defensively, he's so long, his reach is so good, and his timing and athleticism is so good that he's not going to get beaten too many times in that situation. So, over the coming years, he'll fill into his frame. There's no question about that, and strength will become less of an issue. But in the meantime, he's going to no doubt structure his game in a way so that, as everyone does, so that they can sort of play to their strengths. And in his case, that's going to be his length and athleticism and making sure that, that he doesn't get caught sort of flat-footed in a wrestle too often.
Paul, one fellow who donned the sash for the first time and seems to have impressed quite a few people was Sammy Duran. What can you tell us about his game?
Yeah, I thought he was terrific, to be honest. It's the first time I've seen him. I'm not actually sure if he played the really early practice match against us in the preseason or not, but I didn't. Either way, I think that was our first game. I was pretty focused on our guys, so didn't get much of a look at him. But first impressions were really strong. He's a good size. He's athletic. Bio is really strong. He moves really well. He's top speed and sort of max velocity running, and that's that red zone sort of running is really good. So athletically, he's got some real gifts for a sort of halfback wing type, and he looks really comfortable on both feet. His kicking action is really strong. He made a few sort of nervous-ish kind of blues yesterday, I suppose, but. You can tell that by foot, but you can tell that his kicking action is good, and makes good contact with the footy. So I'm not worried about that. And for a bloke who's relatively light bodied, he hit some contests pretty hard at speed and sort of seemed to relish that contest. So First impressions were I can certainly see why we were attracted to him, no question. So if that's his base level, now I've seen him play exactly once. If that's his base level, then there's an AFL footballer in there. So hopefully it is, and he can sort of go onwards and upwards from here.
Very exciting news for Bombers fans.
You said he was a half-back flank wing type. What was his role on the weekend?
Yeah, he played halfback.
Okay.
Yeah, so he ran off the halfback flank the most of the day. It's, these roles are very sort of jumbled these days. You say he's a halfback flanker, but the reality is, they spend half their time as a high half forward or on a wing or deep back, or it's all sort of pretty jumbled up. But he primarily ran off halfback. He provided some overlap run a couple of times. Wasn't always used. As his sort of teammates will get used to that being an option. But, he actually, if I had to sort of draw a picture for people, if I had a comparison in mind, he plays a little bit like a Mason Redmond type.
Okay.
With that sort of overlap run off halfback. Certainly those who saw Mace play at VFL level will be familiar with his sort of overlap running from halfback and long strides, hard running, long kicking, that sort of stuff. So, there's certainly a bit to work with there, no doubt.
Now, another senior listed player who was quite promising was Marty Gleeson. Am I right in saying that he spent most of the day in the middle?
No, he was down back. He spent the majority of his day down back.
I've read this article wrong.
He got up the ground, or someone wrote the article wrong, maybe.
Yeah.
He got up the ground a bit, and certainly found some footy through the middle of the ground. But he was down back, and certainly he had a good day all day. His second half was he was a standout, and certainly found a lot of footy. How it goes with those guys, particularly a guy like Marty, who's a bit of a general down there. The footy will go through him a bit. Out of our back half, but he used it well. He made good decisions with the ball, and he had a really good day. I had him certainly as one of our better players.
McBride popped up for 3 snags, Paul. How have you seen his development this year?
Yeah, it's the first time I've seen him play forward, so that was a change. Down back, he'd sort of, anyone who's seen him, he's massive. He's a massive kid. And athletically, he's really gifted. He's a good runner. He jumps well. He moves well. But he's just sort of struggling to find the ball, and probably at times a bit too worried about his opponent down back. You generally say for those guys who are sort of new to the game, learning the game, the back line is the place to do it. But in his case, he probably just needed a bit of a release from that sort of responsibility down back.
Yep.
He looked good forward. He took a few really good sort of clunk marks. I think I can't remember all 3 of his goals, but I know a couple were sort of from the goal square. But one of them was a terrific sort of pack mark, and then a snap around the corner. And he showed some signs that. He might have some flexibility to play at both ends of the ground. He's, with last year being such a write-off, he's a kid who just desperately needs games because he hasn't played any. But, there's some promising signs there for sure.
Paul, so because there has been a few games missed due to the lockdown, have they given any word as to what's going to happen there? Will they be played later in the year, or have they been scrapped?
No, we really don't know.
Yeah.
It's very much week to week at this stage. Yep. So I found out an hour ago where we're playing this week. So it's oh, sorry, I had a call coming in from my wife.
That's right.
So it's very much a sort of week to week proposition. Yep. Will we be able to make up those games? It might depend a bit on what happens with COVID going forward.
Yeah.
Maybe we can play across what was planned to be a bye in future weeks. Maybe the season can go a week longer. Will that work with AFL finals? a million questions. But I can tell everyone for now that we're playing Casey at Casey this Sunday at 12 o'clock.
There we go. That was going to be my next question. Do you know where we're playing?
Yeah. So exclusive for you boys. So what I do know that they're going to try to do as much as they can is match up the VFL with the AFL draw. Obviously, with a whole lot of teams that aren't in the AFL, that's tricky. But, we played Box Hill on the weekend while our seniors played Hawthorn on the same day.
Yeah.
This week we're playing Melbourne on Saturday night, and then we're playing Melbourne's VFL affiliate on Sunday. So, so they're going to try to match it up, I think, as closely as they can, as often as they can. It's we're against the Demons at Casey Fields, I think, 12 o'clock on Sunday.
There we go. Oh, well, fingers crossed. And just the last one from me, Paul. Bit of change to the list. Angus Baker is left to have opportunities elsewhere. Is that correct?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So Bakes came down. I think he's a Canberra boy, but had sort of played footy around Sydney and that. And he came down, as most will remember, going for our SSP spot that Alec Waterman got over summer. And we were able to convince him to come down and join our VFL program. He'd been terrific for us and played some really good footy. But I think after the mid-season draft, came and went, and he wasn't sort of picked up onto an AFL list. I think he made the decision that he'd rather be closer to home again. So he's headed back that way, and I think some 4 or 5 days later was playing with GWS's reserves.
Oh, right.
So these things all happen pretty quickly. But Bakes chose to head home, and I guess you can understand that.
Certainly can, Paul. Certainly can. Well, once again, you've been very generous with your time and all the best information when it comes to the Essendon VFL side. Paul, thank you once again.
No worries, boys. Hey, quick shout out for Andrew Phillips, who I reckon has been playing some really good footy in the AFL. The last month or so. Was incredibly stiff to go out and slaughtered him yesterday. He was our best player by the length of the Flemington Straight. So I reckon he took eight or nine contested marks, like pack marks yesterday. He was ridiculous.
Maybe they'll tag Max Gorn next week.
Yeah, maybe. Look, it's easy. I'd say I give him a bit of a shout out because, he's approaching 30. He's done absolutely nothing wrong at AFL level and been dropped because Drapes is coming back, and you can understand that. But, it's easy for a guy in that situation to drop his bundle. But instead he came back and was comfortably our best player. And, his attitude was fantastic. You can't get enough guys like that around your footy club. So just wanted to give him a bit of a shout out for a terrific performance.
Love that.
Love it.
Beautiful. Appreciate it as always, Paul. Thanks for joining us, and we'll speak to you next week.
No worries, boys. Good to chat.
Cheers,
You
Paul.
too. Cheers.
Thanks a lot.
Cheers, guys.
All right, boys. Wrapping up for a Monday. Jeez, Paul's good.
He's fantastic.
This is
He's
the
a
best,
legend.
This is the best info every week.
I feel like we should send alcohol to his house before podcasts and fill him up and then get him to just
more exclusives.
Yeah,
More
we want more
exclusives.
exclusives.
More exclusives. He'll probably just start making stuff up for us.
Yeah, we can add it to the yay or nay, true or false.
Bit of truth serum.
Truth serum. Yeah, Lord knows it works for me. Boys, any final thoughts? Anything you want to discuss before we pack it up?
We're 2 games ahead of Carlton, so just want to reiterate that.
Yeah, important.
Very, very happy.
And then we're in a rebuild.
Very
2
happy.
games ahead.
Very, very happy.
Well, actually, my cousin was telling me yesterday, someone he knows went to one of the, I think it's like the Carltonians there, group that they have, the Coterie group. This is 2 years ago. And when that happened, it was when, Teague had come in as the assistant coach. And they had the thing, the usual speakers and people, eating and drinking. And then apparently David Teague rocks up halfway through, and the whole of this Carltonians lunch, everyone just starts being like, Teague, Teague, Teague. And the board didn't want to hire him at the time. And apparently just the pressure from all the Carlton heavyweights was you got to get Teague in, Teague's got to get in.
You're joking.
Has pushed him in. Now 2 years later they want to get rid of him.
Oh,
so
that's very Carlton.
they run like a mafia, that club.
Surely Chero won't want to go there.
Nah.
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 Why would you?
Absolutely not.
I honestly think Adam Cherry will probably just stay in Freo, to be honest.
Nah, the day he was
He'll go to the
drafted,
Tigers.
the day he was drafted there, he knew he was leaving.
Yeah, actually, Richmond. I
He'll
hate
go
to
to the
say it.
Tigers.
Yeah, I've heard.
Have they got money?
Would we go?
I've
would
heard
we
they're in
go
the
after
box
him?
seat for him.
Is he?
I don't know if we need it.
I don't think it's what we want. To be honest,
I'd be more focusing on trying to fill that forward role. But I know we're
Sandwich.
just talking about we've got 7-seater and Brian on the way, but
they're right. Yeah, I still, for me, I think if we're looking to trade anyone in, although I'd still rather go to the draft and rather than sell the farm, I think I would be looking at another forward purely because I don't think that whenever we are in the window, whether it's next year or 2 years from now, whenever that's going to be, Lord Kale won't be there.
I would love Jack Darling, but I think he's got a big long-term deal at the.
I think he's also peaked in terms of what we want. I think we'd be wanting someone in the 20 to 24 age bracket who is a
Give me a name.
a bona fide. Oh, I mean, I'd love Ben King, but
Yeah,
I was just about to say.
but we're not going to
He's not
sell.
realistic.
We're not going to sell the farm for Ben King. I actually don't know right now. I actually don't know.
Yeah.
And honestly, maybe we just go to the draft and try and pick a forward there because, I mean, lately we seem to be pretty good at going to the
He's
draft.
always had a good knack for picking key position players.
Potentially.
Tadora.
Yeah.
Just thinking about the time frame of how long it takes for a key forward to
Develop. What's Jason Laycock up to these days? Can he just run out again?
Yeah.
Is he available?
Oh, he's someone borrowed. Harry Jones borrowed his jumper last week.
Yeah, so maybe he can get back out there. What's Damien Cupido doing today?
What is he doing?
podcasting.
Yeah, let us know, people. If there's again, we've put a lot of questions out to the listeners today, particularly those who are on TikTok from Tasmania. And then what was the third thing?
Sam Booker.
Yeah, and drink Sambuca. If you're any of those
Not
three,
drink it.
they buy
purchase
it. They
it.
purchase it, not from a bar, but from the bottle shop. Correct. That's what I want to know.
If you're pouring it yourself.
If you're pouring it yourself at home. So if you're any of those three things and you can name a key forward who is in the window we'd like, but isn't going to cost us the farm, we're going to have to give away 2 first rounders for him, let us know. I'd like to hear your thoughts. So, and on that, I'm going to get the Spirit of Tasmania and have a Sambuca. So
There you go.
Yeah, you can. Tassie borders open at 12:01. So.
Light it up. Let's go. Let's go. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Cheers, everyone.
Go Dons.
Go Dons.